How to absorb a book 100%. The worst way to study is like this. Let's say you read a book. Oh, this is well written. It's easy. I get it. This is not studying. When I read a book, I treat it like a notebook. I add bullet points, underline, rewrite important sentences in my own words, and compress the ideas. The best method I recommend is this. Turn sentences or concepts into drawings. When you do this, you reinterpret the book. You are manipulating and working with it actively. As you read a page, the emotions you feel in that moment are imprinted in your handwriting. Later, when you revisit what you wrote, it often moves you deeply. Even 5 or 10 years later, when you look back at those notes, you will instantly understand everything. It's like your emotions are perfectly captured in your notes. In short, organize your emotions as you study. If someone has these characteristics, make sure to keep them close. What kind of person are we talking about? This is truly important. Psychologists have studied this question over the past decade and gathered substantial data. Researchers used various methods to find the answer. They asked people to evaluate how humble their romantic partners were, measured humility through self-reports, and surveyed individuals on whether they would choose a humble or arrogant person as their future partner. The findings from these different approaches indicate that people want to be friends with humble individuals. They wish to have humble people as their romantic partners, maintain romantic relationships with them, feel more satisfied with humble partners, and put more effort into those relationships. Considering that humility includes respect for others, it becomes clear why humble people are more attractive as future romantic partners. Given how obvious this is, shouldn't we take a moment to reflect on how humble we are ourselves? The relationships to avoid most are those that arise when we are at our lowest points. Looking back at my life, I can see a clear pattern. Relationships that grew closer when I was struggling often left me with deep scars. Ultimately, the root of problematic relationships wasn't the other person, but the state of my own life at the time. When I am stable, comfortable, and have emotional reserves to share, even if someone with harmful tendencies comes into my life, their impact on me is minimal. In those times, I have a strong emotional shield to protect myself. However, when I'm desperate, frustrated, and overwhelmed by loneliness, the relationships I form tend to amplify their negative effects. Whatever harm the other person may unintentionally or intentionally bring is magnified many times over in my life. In difficult times, it's better to rely on myself rather than seeking comfort from others. It's something we need to endure and overcome on our own. How can I maintain a harmonious and healthy relationship with my family? It is said that humans instinctively identify closely with those who are near them. Our brains mistakenly perceive people we see every day, like family members, as extensions of ourselves. This leads us to treat them as if they are ourselves, often in ways that are careless or thoughtless. For example, when we feel dissatisfied with ourselves, we may unconsciously take it out on our family members by being irritable or nagging them. To prevent this, it's essential to maintain a certain degree of distance, even with those closest to us. Just as the Earth and the Sun maintain an optimal distance to sustain life, the same principle applies to human relationships. With family or close loved ones, we need to keep an appropriate psychological distance and treat them with respect. This balance is the foundation for creating a harmonious household. A true friend is someone who does not bring up your painful memories. A person who pretends to comfort you while discussing your wounds often does so to feel a sense of relative satisfaction for themselves. A true friend does not criticize you. They make you feel respected and valued. They are someone who can accept your shortcomings without judgment. When giving advice, they choose a more indirect and considerate approach. And if words fail to work, they are willing to simply accept you as you are. When spending time with friends, there are important points to keep in mind. Do not make promises lightly when you are feeling happy and excited. Also, refrain from speaking when you are angry or frustrated. By following these principles, we can build and maintain strong and meaningful friendships.